So let me just introduce someone, Denis, to you. Professionally, he's the CEO of a company. So that's a chief executive officer of a company. That's pretty big. There are 1,500 employees in his company, and they're in a lot of states in the United States. That means knowing someone like Denis is a pretty good thing. And the fact that he's here and he's offered to be here to talk to you, we'll have his information. If you have questions for him, you can contact him. I really appreciate it. In addition to being the CEO of a company called Prommis Solutions, he was in the judicial arm of the Army at one point. I don't know if anybody saw the movie A Few Good Men and the Tom Cruise character. Denis also had some of that role. And more than what he does professionally is what's in his heart. I've known Denis for about a year now, and he doesn't have to be here. He wants to be here. He's excited to be here. And I know that what he's going to be talking to you about is so important for your lives. And I'm just so grateful to you, Denis, for doing this and for caring so much about, as Denis likes to tell me, paying it forward. So I really appreciate it. And I just want to thank you. And go ahead and I'll sit down.
All right, thanks, Liz. Can everybody hear me out there? I don't think I've ever been referred to as Tom Cruise before, so that was pretty cool. I'll take that. All right. Guys, yeah, I want to talk to you today about self-confidence, and so that's kind of what the subject of the talk is. You know, first of all, I want to talk to you about why I'm here. Liz mentioned that just a little bit. We'll get into that in just a second. Talk to you about self-confidence and what it is and how it works, and some tips that I think you can use to make it come to work for you in your lives, okay? And then at the end of that, we'll have some questions or whatever. Now, you know, I do this a lot with the folks in my company, so, you know, I'd like for you guys to you know, interrupt me with questions. If you have a comment or something that I'm talking about, you know, you have a story or something you want to share, you know, feel free to stop me. I don't like listening to boring speeches either, you know, so you can kind of help me out, you know. If I say something that's kind of funny, maybe you can laugh, you know, maybe you can say something. I saw Chris Webber's video. I don't have any candy with me, but you guys don't need candy anyway, right? So we'll kind of go through this thing, all right? Maybe we can get done a little bit early and let you out of here, right? So, you know, I know why y'all are here. Y'all are here because you got to be here, right? You know. No? Well, not necessarily. Okay. Why am I here? Hey, look, nobody ever gets to where they get to in life by themselves, okay? Somewhere along the way, somebody's going to give you a hand up. They're going to give you an opportunity, a break when you need one, you know? You never know what that's going to be. You know, you may be in line at McDonald's and you come up a couple bucks short, or you may be, you know, talking to your teacher and saying, hey, I really needed that to be an A- instead of a B+. You never know. Somebody's going to give you a hand up. And those hand ups over time is what gets you from one point to the next in your life. You know, and so the thing about it is, though, you can't go back and pay somebody back for giving you that hand up. You know, it's already happened. And a lot of this stuff, you know, it's not about money anyway. It's just somebody did something nice for you, right? So how do you pay them back? Well, you pay it forward, right? You go and do the same thing for somebody else. I mean, we're all humans sharing this same planet together, right? It's a small place, and we need to help each other out. And so the way we help each other out is we pay it forward. So what I'm hoping is that you get something out of this, or some of you all get something out of this, and then you'll have a chance somewhere down the road to pay me back by passing along something else that you've learned to somebody else. All right? Good deal? Yeah, we're videoing this thing. So I do a quarterly video for my employees, because I've got employees in California, Texas, Nevada, Florida, places all over the country. And, you know, so we try to keep in touch with them. I go and speak to them about once a quarter. The problem is I can't fly to all of them all over the place, right? So, you know, when I started doing this, I go to a TV studio here in Atlanta, and we film this message. In that studio, you walk in, and it's all green. If y'all ever seen the weathermen on TV and how they operate, you know, the stuff that you see behind them is actually projected up on the green screen, right? So the problem is I'm used to talking like this and kind of walking around and listening to folks and getting questions. And you go in there to the video studio, and it's just you and the camera. And that is so unnerving, man. You know, I mean, you can't, you know, the camera doesn't talk back to you. It doesn't laugh at your jokes, you know. It doesn't care what you're saying, you know. So that's hard. This is easy, and this can be fun. We can work through this together, right? All right. So what is self-confidence? And I don't know that y'all can see this very well because it's a little bit light in here. The picture of young lady up there on a diving platform, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not really big into heights. I mean, I'm actually a little bit scared of them. Anybody else like that? Yeah. I mean, I can fly on an airplane, look out the window at 30,000 feet. But my office, as Liz knows, is 7th floor. I have to stand a couple feet back from that window, man. You know, that doesn't work for me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just too far down there, you know. But so that picture, you know, I thought it kind of encapsulated what I'm trying to say to you guys about self-confidence. What does it do for you guys? What does it do for each one of us, you know? Well, first and foremost, it enables you to face up to your challenges, you know? How many people like to speak in public? How many people like to do what I'm doing right now? Not a lot of folks, right? It's not something that comes naturally, you know? Well, why is it that I can do it? Why can I walk in here? I've done it a lot, you know, that's number one. But I know that I can do it. I've got confidence, you know? Eventually in your life, you're going to have that too. And it sounds like you've already got it, my friend, right? You don't mind standing up and talking to people, you know? Whatever your challenge may be, confidence is what enables you to do it. You know, you may know how to do something, but if you don't have confidence, it's going to be pretty hard for you to stand up and do it, right? You know? So that's number one. If I had to jump off of that platform, which I wouldn't want to do, somebody'd have to come up with some confidence that I could do that and I wouldn't, you know, break my neck or something like that, right? Helps that there's water down there, you know. What's the second thing that self-confidence enables you to do? It enables you to accomplish your goals. You know, we've all got goals. We've all got stuff to do, you know. And if you've got confidence, you know you can get it done, right? Otherwise, you know, it may not get done, right? If you don't believe that you can do something, chances are you aren't going to be able to do it, you know. And we've all got things that we want to do, whether it's on a day-by-day basis or over time, you know. So that's something that you're trying to do. Let me tell you guys a story. Maybe this will help put it in context, okay? So when I was your age, you know, we had moved around a lot growing up, okay, and I was a little bit heavy for a kid my size, okay, and you know, I had a little bit of a confidence problem, you know, and so when I was a senior in high school, I got a girlfriend, much like our friend in the back there. Got a girlfriend, right? I fell in love with her. She was the best thing ever, man, right? You know, this was going to change my world. She didn't think so much about me, it turns out, right? So a couple months into that, you know, she broke it off, man, and we were done, you know. Problem with that is, man, you know, I went into depression. It was hard. It's hard to go through some of the things you got to go through, right? You know. So instead, I wasn't out riding a bicycle. I was riding the couch, you know, eating at McDonald's and pizza and all that kind of stuff. You know how it is. You got to deal with things, you know. So a couple years later, in my second year of college, you know, I wake up one day and I weighed 300 pounds. Can you believe that? 300 pounds. Okay? If somebody had told me that 20 years later or 25 years later that I would weigh 185 pounds, which is what I weigh today, I would have told them you're crazy. You know? No way that's going to happen to me. You know? I didn't know what to do about that. It was out of control. Well, let me tell you what happened is that I moved into an apartment a couple miles away from school. And, you know, I didn't want to have to drive and walk and ride the bus and all that kind of stuff. It took a long time. And, you know, when you're in college, you kind of want to sleep in as much as you can, you know. So, you know, you got an 8 o'clock class. If you can get 5 more minutes of sleep, well, that's pretty good stuff, you know. So my roommate, he was riding a bike to class. And he could leave, you know, 20 or 30 minutes after I had to when I was driving. So, you know, I was like, well, you know, I'll get myself a bike. if y'all ride bikes, you know that sometimes roads that you think are flat on the road when you're driving, when you're on a bike, yeah, they're a little bit steeper, you know. So, hey, the first couple times I tried to make that bike ride, you know, I couldn't make it. I was embarrassed. I had to get off that bike and push that thing, you know. It was hard. I was out of breath and sweating and all that kind of stuff, you know. So, but you know, one thing I kept at it. I had to conquer that hill, you know. And so, about a month later, I realized, man, I had lost 20 pounds just by riding that bike to class. I didn't stop eating what I was eating or doing other things I was doing. That was the one thing in my life that I changed. And you know, that caused me to believe, you know what, I can take this weight off. I can be somebody else. I can change my life. And so over the course of the next 2 years, I lost 120 pounds, you know. And here I am 25 years later, and I've not put any of that stuff back on. The story is important because I'll tell you that self-confidence is what enables you to change your life, you know. If you don't have that self-confidence, it's going to be hard for you. You're going to sit around and think, you know, I don't know that I can do this. But I'm telling you that you can, and the good news about self-confidence is you don't have to buy it, you don't have to build it, nobody else has to give it to you. You've already got what you need right here inside of you to make that happen, okay? So the reason I'm here today is I didn't have that when I was in your shoes. I had it inside of me, but I didn't know how to use it. And when I figured out how to use it, my life took off. And whatever success I've had in my life, I think has a lot to do with that. And I'm hoping that maybe you guys can harness some of that and use it for your lives, okay? So, how does self-confidence work? All right? First and foremost, words have power. You hear people talk about, you know, you can do anything. You can accomplish your dreams and all those kinds of things. There is no question that that's true. The other side of that, my friend, is if you say you can't do something, I guarantee you ain't going to be able to do it. All right? You've already set yourself up to fail. Your mind will deliver for you what you ask it to do. So I'm telling you that the first and foremost thing you should do every day, look yourself in the mirror and you say, I look good. I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to have a great day. I know where I can go in my life. Those words have power, and that will help you get to where you want to go. Okay? The second thing is perception counts. You know, if you walk around upset, angry, with a, you know, mad look on your face, like you don't care, like you know, don't get anywhere, and no one better get around me, you know, people ain't going to get around you. You know, no one likes to be around people that are like that, you know. If you want people to work with you and to help you achieve your destiny, you got to invite them in. You got to be, you be nice to people and it comes back to you, okay? Finally, the last thing is I would tell you is that success is incremental. Remember that story I was telling you about losing weight? I didn't lose 120 pounds in 20 days. It took 2.5 years. Everything you do builds upon everything else. It takes a long time for things to come through. You have to be patient. You have to believe that you can do things, and then you watch things start to happen for you. One thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next. That's how things work. You may look at something right now in your life that you want to change, and it may look like you're looking up at the mountain. I'm telling you, even if you are, all you can do is go one step at a time, and you'll get there. You know, that's how self-confidence works. Okay, everybody still with me? The question was how long it took me to get all the weight off. It's 2.5 years, you know, and it's a lifetime thing, right? Taking care of yourself is part of your journey. I think the point is, don't worry about what other people say. Hey, look, my story is not about trying to get you guys to lose weight, okay? It's just an example of stuff that you can do in your life if you put your mind to it and how you get it done. Whatever you weigh and want to weigh is up to you. That's you and your life, right? That's you setting your goals. And but to your point, it should be about you. If your friend wants to lose weight for themselves, then they should do it. If they want to lose weight for somebody else, that's probably the wrong reason, right? The question is, what business do I work for? It's a company called Prommis Solutions. We're up in Sandy Springs. We've got probably about 5 locations in Atlanta. The question is, what do our business do? We do a lot of work in the real estate industry, so we help people buy and sell property and finance property and other things like that. All right, so we're talking about self-confidence. I talked to you about what it can do for you and why it's important. So the first step in terms of implementing this for yourself is exactly what we were just talking about, and that is, hey, be yourself. Embrace your humanity, right? It doesn't matter. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, the things that we like and dislike. Some of us are, heavier than others. Some of us can do math. Some of us can do English. It doesn't really matter. What is it that you like to do, and embrace that. You need to figure out what it is, the things that you would like to do, and try to focus on those things. It's okay to say, hey, I'm good at some things, but not at others. In my job, I don't like to deal with the financial stuff, right? So I've got guys that do that all the time. I like to deal with the people stuff, and that's what I do. It's important that you figure those things out and you just embrace it. I don't mind telling the folks, hey, I don't want to do that math. I don't like it. It's okay. It's okay. Secondly, is you got to strive to be an expert. Be the best at what it is that you like to do. Figure out what you like to do and be the best at it. And because nothing worth doing is worth doing halfway. I mean, if you think about it, why do it at all? If you're just going to kind of shuffle through it. If you want to do something, if it's something you like to do, try to be the best at it. That really will will kickstart your self-confidence, because it makes you understand, that I'm good at this. And the last thing I would tell you is, you learn from your mistakes and move on. Every one of us makes mistakes every day. It's part of what we do. Nobody's perfect. Don't get down on yourself because you screwed something up. I do this all the time, and it doesn't do you any good to sit around and mope around about something that you did that you shouldn't have done, or you screwed up or whatever. Just learn from the mistakes and move on. Those mistakes are what help you move forward and what give you that confidence to move forward. Okay? Second thing, play well with others. We were talking about this just a minute ago too. You guys probably know Tony Dungy. He was a great football coach. He's now he's an analyst on NBC on Sunday nights. Yeah. He talks a lot about things like treating people with class, One of the things that's different about him when he was coaching versus other coaches, he didn't walk around yelling at people. He treated them like they were professionals, like they were adults, like he wanted to be treated himself, And back to what I said at the beginning, nobody likes to deal with people that are mean to them or that are rude, If somebody says something nasty, you don't want to be around them, right? You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to hang out with everybody. But you owe them, some courtesy, right? Talk to each other, frankly and fairly, right? That's what people like. They like a sincere, positive attitude. People don't like people that are negative or nosy, irritable. If it's, I got enough problems dealing with my life, I don't need to worry about somebody else's problem. That's none of my business, what they're doing in their lives, But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Whatever they're doing because they want to do, not because what I think about it doesn't really matter, right? Last thing I would say about that is, in terms of self-confidence, is do what you say you're going to do. The more whenever you say to somebody, yeah, I'll help you out with this, that, or the other, follow through on that, because that gives you self-confidence. That shows that, I'm serious about the way I want to live my life, and folks will come around to you and be part of your world if they know they can count on you. Okay? Last thing, and this is again what we were talking about, running your race. I think this is one of the most critical things that you can take home today, hopefully, and that is, hey, don't worry about what other people think. Somebody doesn't like, how you're dressing, how you act, how you look, or what are the things that you say, or where you're from. Your attitude should be, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I ain't worrying about it, right? you know, because all that's going to do is bring you down. If somebody's rude or unfair to you, forget about it. Move on, you know. Obviously, constructive criticism, somebody's trying to help you out, saying, hey, you should have done this or you should do that. Yeah, maybe that's helpful, okay? If it's not helpful, if it's rude or it's unfair, forget about it. Don't even pay a bit of attention, you know? Last thing I would say about this is, you know, surround yourself with the right people, your true friends, the ones that are going to stand up for you and help you out when you need it, you know? When I was a senior in high school, I found out that I had some friends that were talking behind my back, right? We'd go out and do some stuff on a Saturday night. They'd come back and tell everyone in class all the dumb things that I did that weekend or whatever. They weren't my true friends, you know? And it's hard. You know, you feel like I need to have friends. I need to go out and do stuff with other people. I need to be around other people, but you don't need to be around people like that. You know, you're better off by yourself watching movies at night or playing video games or whatever it is that you want to do than being around people that are going to bring you down. Life's too short for that kind of stuff, right? You know, if you want to be self-confident, part of the story is not letting people come into your world that are going to get you off your game. Because again, it's all about running your race. Whatever you want your goal to be, whether it's sitting there looking at the view or running, whatever it is that you want in your life, that's yours. That's for you and you personally. Just like we were talking about your friend that's trying to lose the weight. If they want to do it for themselves, that's their goal. And anyone that says anything negative about that, they need to forget about it. Right? Question is, what did I do when I got away from my friends? That's exactly what happened. See, what happens is when you project out what you want in the world and the kind of person that you want to be, you're going to attract those kind of people to you. It's true. That's how it happens, okay? So sure enough, I got rid of those friends, you know? And yeah, for about a month or so, it was kind of lonely. I kind of felt bad, you know? But then you know what happened is one of my other friends who had been a year ahead of me in school, he had gone off to college. He came back. We started hanging out together again. Next thing you know, there were another couple of guys that were hanging out with us. And I had a great time, you know, all that summer long until I went off to college. I was so much better off. And then I'll tell you something else. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I went back to my 20th high school reunion. You know, believe it or not, I'm that old, and you guys will be someday too. All those guys that I got rid of, they went nowhere, you know. All right? I'm not, you know, again, that's their business, and I'm not talking bad about them or whatever, but I just thought, wow, you know, I did the right thing. It really is the case, man, that, you know, you hear people say a lot, you can achieve your dreams and all those kinds of things, and that sounds pretty high and mighty, you know, and you think, okay, that's great, but how do I get there? And I'm telling you, this self-confidence, this power that sits within each one of you, if you want to tap into it, is what's going to get you there, you know. Do these things I was talking about. Figure out what you like to do and be the best at it, you know. That's step one. Step two, you know, play well with others. You know, try to get along with folks. If they don't want to get along with you, that's their problem. But, you know, don't fall into the trap of that negativity. And then the last thing I would tell you is, you know, run your race. Once you've figured out what it is that you want to do and how you want to be in the world, how you want to address the world, you know, you get out there and do it, and don't worry about what other people may think or say, you know, because you're on one path and they're on a different one. Their path may be okay for them, but you're on the one for you, and that's what you need to worry about, and that's it. All right? Guys, I appreciate it. I know, especially in the afternoon, it's tough to come in and listen to some guy, but I hope y'all got something out of it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
The question is, what kind of personality traits do we like most in an employee? That's a great question. Starts and stops with integrity. You know, you got to be a very high integrity person, high character to come work in our company, because, you know, we can't deal with stuff we don't know about, right? And when I talked about communicating with people fairly and frankly and frequently, you know, we don't play games, right? You know, everybody makes mistakes, To me, I'd much rather you come to me and say, hey, I made this mistake, or I don't understand, or whatever, than have to figure it out downstream when it's hard to fix, right? I mean, obviously, beyond integrity, you're looking for somebody that's good at what they do and has the right experience and all that, but that's really where it starts and stops. Good question. The question is, what do I do to be a leader? You know, a lot of times it's stuff that people don't even get. It's kind of subtle. You know, when you have, you know, you kind of have to, when you have a big workforce, you have to break it down into smaller parts. And I see you're wearing the uniform. When I was in the Army, you know, the Army's kind of broken down into smaller parts, you know. And when you're a leader, you've got to, you get things done through people, right? And how do you motivate people to do what you're asking them to do? Well, there's a lot of different tools at your disposal, you know, and each situation calls for a different one, you know. I mean, you know, in my job, I mean, I could theoretically tell people to do just about anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to want to do it or do it the right way, you know. The best thing you can do as a leader is build consensus, you know. When you've got a task out there in front of you and you've got a team to do to get it done, everyone's got to be on the same page about why we're going to get it done. What does it mean at the end of the day, and how can each person contribute towards moving the team forward? So sometimes, you know, you have to appeal to some of the things that they're, like I was talking about before. What are you good at? How can I get you in the right position to succeed? And how can I help convince you that this is the right thing to do? So ironically enough, sometimes as a leader, it's not just about pounding the table and saying, do this, do that, do the other. It's more about, can you help me do this? What do you think about that? And trying to kind of pull people as opposed to push them. The question is, what's the most commonly made mistake in an interview? I think lack of preparation. You know, my company is in the process of going public, you know, which means that our stock is going to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of disclosures about our company that you can find out on the internet. You can go on to the government, you know, the SEC website and find this stuff out. And, you know, if you're interviewing for a job, I would assume it's because you want to get it, right? You're not there because you got nothing else to do with your time. So, you know, figure something out about the job and how you can be good at it, you know. Come into the interview knowing something about the company and about the job and why it fits for you. You know, just reading the job descriptions a lot of times helps, but you know, it's basically doing your homework, right? You know, because again, back when we were talking about being the best at what you're doing, at what it is that you like to do, if you're looking for a job, I'm going to assume it's because, well, besides the fact that you need a job, perhaps, but you're looking at this job because you've identified in that job that's something that you like to do. Nobody wants to spend their time at work doing stuff they don't like, right? Yeah, that job ain't going to last very long for you. You're going to be leaving. Nobody wants to hire somebody that's going to come into a job that they don't like, you know? So there better be a good fit between you and the job, you know? So then, the only question in my mind, if I'm interviewing somebody, is this person going to be successful in this role, and are they going to help move our team forward? Do they bring something unique to bear that's going to help us in what we're trying to do? You know, so the problem is I don't know this person. Oftentimes, and one of the things I'll tell you that's a tough part about interviewing is most of the time, you know, the guy that's interviewing you, maybe it's me or somebody else, you don't have time to prepare. Half the time, somebody hands me a resume literally when I'm walking in to do the interview, okay? I know nothing about the person. It's your job to sell yourself, okay? So you got to think about anything else that you buy in the world, somebody's trying to sell you, right? They know about the product and they know about the need, and they're trying to convince you why you should buy this versus something else, you know? You got to do the same thing. And if you haven't researched the company and the job and the skill sets that it requires, you're not going to be able to be effective in selling. And you only got one shot most of the time. Question, is my job affected by the economy? Absolutely. I'll tell you guys, I think your world is going to be a lot different than mine was when I was your age, okay? I've got a TV in my office that's got CNBC on it all day long because, you know, number one, our economy's in a rough spot right now, right? Things are changing up in D.C., you know. I go up to D.C. quite frequently and talk to the politicians and stuff like that. But, you know, it changes every day now, and you have to know what's going on. It used to be you could kind of go in and do your job, and you didn't have to worry about the broader economy because that would take care of itself, and all you had to focus on was what the things you got to do to be successful. Unfortunately, it ain't like that anymore, you know. Things change every day. And you don't have to wear a suit and tie to be successful, but, you know, in my job, it's about showing people. I'm trying to show my respect for my employees. If I were them, I would want my leader to look like he or she knew what they were doing, they were confident, and they took their job seriously. So that's why I dress well. Besides that, dressing well is part of feeling good about yourself and being confident, right? You know, it's projecting that image to the world that I was talking about a few minutes ago, right? You walk around, you know, and you're wearing dirty clothes or you're, you know, not up to speed or whatever. People get that, and they, like I said, people don't want to hang around people that are negative, that don't show that they're good at what they do and they care about themselves, you know. Yeah, the question is taking care of the employees like taking care of kids. My employees are my most valuable asset. Okay, it's my job and my duty to bring in the right people, to give them the tools and the training and the things that they need to develop and to give them a career path. Okay, and there's nothing that I can do every day that's more important than that, you know. And so we talk about those things all the time, you know. We talk about our core values, you know, which are really three things that you need to succeed. One is strength, which is all about being the best. You know, you see this logo down here, it says strength, discipline, and perseverance. Strength is about being the best. Discipline is about having a way of doing things. And then perseverance is about doing it each and every day, right? You know, my job is like an NBA coach, okay? You know, I got LeBron and D-Wade and those other guys out there. They're the ones that are shooting the baskets. I'm actually a Kobe fan. Yeah, I mean, I was a Cleveland guy until, you know, and so I'm not so friendly with LeBron right now. But my job's to call the plays, right? Those guys execute. You know, I've got a provision. I got to make sure they have what they need to succeed.